Hey Divi Nation, thank you for joining us in this tutorial and live stream. And today I will be showing you how to create custom sticky back to top designs with Divi, and we'll be using the green energy layout pack. So if you haven't checked that out yet, make sure that you do. I've mentioned a link in the description below. And if you're not an Elegant Themes member yet, make sure that you check out Divi. I've mentioned a link to the product page where you can go ahead and discover everything for yourself. And without any further ado, let's get to it. All right, so let's start off by taking a quick look at the green energy layout pack. So if you want to lay your hands on it, you can go to elegantthemes.com/layouts, and over here you can find all of the different layout packs. So go ahead and scroll down until you come across the green energy layout pack, and if you click on it, you will see all of the layouts that are available. So you can join to download or click on the blue button which says view live demo, and if you click on it, it will redirect you to a live website where you can explore all of the different layouts without actually having to install them. So what we're going to do within this live stream tutorial is show you guys how to create custom back to top designs with Divi, and these will be sticky to the bottom of the page, so to the bottom right corner over here, and we're going to use Divi's built-in options to build these. And let me just show you what it looks like when you click on it. So we have this smooth scroll going on. So this is the first example we'll recreate. Let's take a look at the second one. So this is the second one, and this is the last one. So you can basically use Divi's built-in options to create any kind of back to top design that you want using this technique. And the first thing you will need to do is create a new page using one of the layouts that come with the green energy layout pack, or any other kind of layout of your choice. Really, you can choose for yourself, but the ones that we're recreating go well with the layout pack. And I've already done that over here. So I have 3 different layouts, and I've used the landing page layout for each one of them. So we'll start off by going through some general steps that are required, and then focus on the 3 different examples and how to recreate them. But feel free to play around with Divi's built-in options and create your own alternatives, and we highly encourage that, and just create stunning web design with Divi. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the visual builder on the first example over here. All right, I'm just waiting for the builder to load. And the first thing we're going to do is add the smooth scroll to the page. And to do that, I'm going to open the page settings over here. So this icon that I have my pointer on. And then I'm going to switch over to Advanced tab, to Custom CSS, and I'm going to add following CSS code. Let me just grab it really quick. So what this does is basically add a smooth scroll to the entire page, and later on when we create the design, it will behave smoothly since we've added this custom CSS over here. And the next step is adding a new section, and we're going to start off by first adding the CSS ID to the first section, and then we'll recreate the section that we'll need for the back to top design. So of course we'll need to link the back to top design somewhere, and that's going to be the first section on the page. And to make sure that works, we'll need to add a custom CSS ID to the hero section. So I'm just using section -1, and now we can start creating the design, and later on we'll link it to the first section. So we're going to add a new regular section to the bottom of our page. I'm just going to place the menu at the right over here so you guys can see, and it's just going to be a regular one. And this is where we'll add the back to top design, but we'll first start off by modifying the section settings. And the first thing we'll do over here is remove all default top and bottom padding. So to do that, we'll just need to add 0 pixels to the top and the bottom. And we're doing this to make sure that no space is taken up by this section, because we don't really need the section, we need the row in it to be sticky. So everything that's created by the section itself, so the top and the bottom padding that come by default, is not necessary in this case. And then we can start adding our row. So let me just switch over to wireframe view really quick, and we're going to use a row with one column. All right, so now it's important for you to add a link to the row. So don't add any modules yet, but go to the link settings over here, and this is the kind of URL that you would need. So yourwebsite.com, so you fill that in, /page/ hashtag section 1. So this refers to the first section, the hero section, which we added the section ID to. I'm just going to replace this really quick with the URL that I have at this moment. So this is my URL at this moment, but you have to modify this according to the page you're working on. And then we'll go to the design tab, and over here we're going to choose right row alignment, and this will place the row to the right side of the page over here, which allows us to have a bottom right sticky element. And then we're going to make it fixed, and we'll also leave some space at the right and the bottom. And to do that, we're going to move on to the advanced tab and add a little bit of CSS code to the main elements. So we're making the row fixed, and we're adding 30 pixels to the bottom, 30 pixels to the right side. And to make sure that this row overlaps all of the content that's shared within the page, we're also going to increase the Z index within the visibility settings over here. I'm going to use 99. That was also one of the reasons why we placed the section at the bottom of our page, because the lower your section is in the page structure, the higher the Z index is. So this section is supposed to overlap all of the different sections that are on the entire page, but you could manually add another Z index to a certain element, and just to make sure that this keeps overlapping every element on the page, we're going to increase the value to 99. All right, so these are the basic steps for each one of the examples, and I'm just going to save this. And reuse it on the other pages as well. Since we're recreating 3 different examples, let me just enable the visual builder and add these. So you'll also have to add the custom CSS of the page to those other 2 pages, along with the hero section CSS ID. So again, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of my page and add the section from the library. Okay. I'm also going to open the page settings and add a smooth scroll. I guess my builder jumped. Let me just redo that really quick. So I'm just going to start doing it on the 3rd example. So add the section, and then I'm going to open the page settings and add the smooth scroll and save the page, restore. Let me just see if the code's there. Right, so I'm just going to add in here, and then I'll open the sections, so the hero sections, and add the CSS ID. So you would need to do that for each one of the pages that you add this back to top design to. You can also add the CSS code to the Divi theme options, but we're only making this work on one particular page. So adding it to the page itself will do. All right, so now we have the base and we can start recreating the different examples. So let's take a quick look again. So this is the first one. And then we have the second one. And the third one. All right, so let's start off with the first example. All right, so I'm going to open the row settings over here and we'll need to make some changes. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a white background color. I'm also going to change the column structure into 2 columns instead of 1. And if you want to follow everything step by step, you can also go to the blog post, which I've mentioned in the description below, and over there you can grab all of the color codes and all of the steps are also written down and you can follow along there nicely as well. Or you can just read off the screen if you're following along this tutorial right here. And then we're going to open the row settings here as well and go to the design tab and modify the sizing settings. So the first thing we'll do is remove all space between both columns, and then we'll modify the width, and we're using the VW unit. So this will make sure that everything remains responsive across all screen sizes. So we're modifying this value across all screen sizes, and we'll start with the desktop value, which is 9 VW. 9 VW, then we have, I'm going to switch over to tablet, 23 VW for tablet, and 35 VW for phone. Okay, and then we'll go to the spacing settings, and over here we're also going to modify the values across different screen sizes to make sure we have a similar outcome. And let me just inspect this really quick and show you guys what it looks like on smaller screen sizes. So here we have it. So to accomplish that, we'll need to add some custom spacing values, and I'm just going to grab those really quick and add them and go over them with you. All right, just scroll down, see if I can, and I'll have to switch over to wireframe view so I can grab the spacing. Okay, all right, let me just paste them over here, and these are the values that we're using. So we're using 2.5 VW for the top and the bottom padding, and 1 VW for the left and the right. And then if we switch over to tablet, we have the following values, and you can see it change over here, and this is what we need on phone. And then we'll go to the border settings, and over here we're going to add 10 pixels to each one of the corners. Let me switch up back to desktop mode. And we're also adding a box shadow to make the back to top design more noticeable. And we're increasing the blur strength to create a bit of depth over here and to blur the box shadow in general. And before we add any modules, we'll also need to place both of these columns next to each other on smaller screen sizes as well. And to do that, we're just going to add one extra line of CSS code. It says display flex, and this allows both columns to remain next to each other on smaller screen sizes as well. So now we can start adding the modules. So we need 2 modules in total, starting with a text module in the first column. And over here, we're going to add a bit of copy to the content box. So it says back to top. And then we're going to modify the text settings. And over here, we're also using the VW unit for the text size, so it looks good across different screen sizes. So we're using Arial for the text font, a bold text font weight, a black text color, -1 pixel for the text layer spacing, 1 EM for the text line height, and let's just take a look at the values across different screen sizes. So it was 1.1 VW for desktop, 3 VW for tablet, and 4.4 VW for phone. And then we can move on to the next column. And over here, we're going to add a symbol to the content box. So let me just get rid of this placeholder text and grab the symbol. So you can find the symbol by going to the blog post, which I've mentioned in the description below, or you can choose any kind of symbol you want. I really like playing around with the symbols because it gives you a different view on the design you're working with, and you can use different units to style it however you want. And this matched the design in my opinion, so I took this one, and then I'll go to the text settings over here, and I'm going to use a default text font. So a symbol usually isn't linked to any kind of font in particular. It looks the same for each one you're using. And we're changing the text alignment to center. We're using a entirely black text color, and we're modifying the text size across all screen sizes, and 0.6 EM for the text line height. So we're using 3 VW on desktop. Let me switch over to tablet. 8 VW for tablet and 12 VW for phone. Okay, so here we have the first example. This one's all finished. So as you can notice, you can really add any kind of module you want. So you can play around with all of Divi's built-in options and create your own kind of design, and just use the functionality of the smooth scroll that was shown at the beginning of this tutorial. So if I click on it, it will bring me back to the top of my page. And now we can move on to the second example. Let's take a quick look. Right, let me just take a look at the chat on YouTube. Okay, yeah. Let me just, sorry guys, I'm just going to I'm just going to change the position. I'm sorry guys, I was too busy explaining the first example, but now we can move on to the second one. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you want me to redo the first one so you guys can follow along if you weren't able to see how it was made. You know what, let's move on to the second example, and if you guys want me to redo the first one, I'll go back to the first one. So this is the second example over here. All right. And let me just show you guys what it looks like on smaller screen sizes as well. So here we have the outcome on smaller screen sizes, and let's get started with it. Okay, so we have those basic steps over here, and again, we're going to modify the row settings. Let me just do that really quick. So I'm going to open the row settings and I'm going to modify the width of the row. So I'll use 7%, and this will allow it to look good across all screen sizes. And then I'll go to the spacing settings over here, and I'm going to remove the top and bottom default padding that goes with the row. And these are basically the only steps that I need to go through for the second example when it comes to the row. And now we can start adding our module, which is a text module. And again, we're going to use a symbol. So let me just grab that symbol really quick for you guys. So it's just an arrow that points upwards. So the one thing I really like about the symbols is that you can combine them easily with the Divi built-in options, such as the border over here. And it also behaves like a transparent image. All right, so this is the symbol. Again, you can grab this in the blog post by going to by clicking on the link in the description below. And I'm going to modify the text styles. All right. Let me just reset those really quick. So I'm using just the default font, not necessary to change, which we're also using a light font weight. We're modifying the text size to 56 pixels and a text line height of 1. And then we'll go to the spacing settings, and we're going to add some top and bottom padding, 30 pixels to the top and 50 pixels to the bottom. And then we'll go to the border settings, and I'm going to add a very high value to each one of these corners over here. And this will just make sure that it remains responsive across different screen sizes, so the highest value is being used. I'm using 50 VW. It's just a number I use, but you can basically assign any kind of high number you want. And then I'm also going to add a border width of 3 pixels and change the border color to black. And here we have the second example, so that's really quick. A quick way to just add this kind of functionality to a page that you want to increase the look and feel of. So let me just click. Okay, so this is still referring to the previous page, so let me just modify that really quick. So you'll have to make sure that you do that for each page you're working on or adding it to. I think this method is particularly interesting if you're creating a one-pager or just a simple website with a few pages where you can afford to add it manually to each one of the pages. So I've just changed the URL here and now it should work. Yep, so we have this smooth scroll going on, and now we can move on to the last example. So you basically get it. It's the same kind of approach, just with different Divi built-in options. Let's just take a look at the mobile view as well here. All right, let's start recreating that one. So again, I'm going to open the row settings and modify the width. And I'm going to modify it across different screen sizes. So I'm starting with 4%. on desktop. %, on tablet. Not 10 pixels, 10%. Let me just... and 15% on phone. Then I'll go to the spacing settings and add 0 pixels to the top and bottom. And I'm also going to add a box shadow. So I'm using this option over here, and let me just modify these values. So I'm using 4 pixels for the strength, and we're keeping the shadow color the way it is. And now we can add a text module to this row. Again, let me just open these settings over here and change the link. So very important to change the link you're referring to keep people on the same page. So now we can add a text module. And this time we're using, I don't know what it's called. It's an arrow that points upwards, but no, it's not narrow. It's usually used on letters, French letters, I think. Not sure what it's called, but you can find it in the blog post. And let me just change the text settings and switch over to desktop view again. For you guys to see the changes that are going on. All right, so these are the changes we made. We're using the default text font, center text alignment. We're changing the color into this color code. We're using 56 pixels for the text size and 1 EM for the text line height. And then we're also using a text shadow, so this one over here, and we're modifying the text shadow color to the following color code. And then we'll go to the spacing settings, and we're going to create some space using custom padding values, so 30 pixels for the top padding and 20 pixels for the bottom padding. And I'm also going to add a border, 3 pixels, and change the border color. And this is the last step. And I'm just going to, I know you guys say that it's not necessary to go back to the first example, but I do want to go over the changes that we've made there, because I feel kind of bad you guys weren't able to see it in real time. And let me just exit the visual builder. If I click on it, it redirects me to the top of the page. And it looks good on mobile as well. Okay, so let's get back to the first example. And I'm not going to recreate it again. I'm just going to guide you through the different steps that were needed to create this design. Okay, so first of all, we changed the column structure to 2 columns, and then we added a white background color. We moved on to the design tab. We modified the sizing settings, so we removed all space between both columns by enabling custom gutter width. We changed the width across different screen sizes. And then over here we used different padding values to style it across different screen sizes as well to make sure that it looks good. Then we added a first text module to the first column. We modified the text styles. And then we added a second text module to the second column with a symbol and modified text styles as well. And that was it. So I look forward to see you guys try this out with your own designs as well. And thank you for watching, and we hope that you're enjoying this ongoing Divi design initiative where we try to put something extra into your design toolbox each and every week. We hope to see you in our next live stream or video.